So you mentioned that you are based in Austin. You've been working from there. From the outside, when we think about tech in the US, it's always the Silicon Valley, the California is the hub for tech. Is this now changed where we are today? Is there more states, more hubs forming to be, the new tech gathering spaces in the US?
Yeah, well, I think, California is still by far the biggest tech hub. But like a lot of, I think off the back of COVID, a lot of businesses made the move to Austin. Austin, the reason I chose to be based in Austin is because there is a massively growing tech scene here. I think that, there's lots of reasons around that. The tax laws, and obviously remote working has had a knock-on implication. The fact that in the past it was almost like you had to go and move to California if you wanted to go and work in big tech or exciting startups. But that's changed, and companies are starting to move out of there to some extent. So yeah, Austin is certainly one that is on the rise.
Okay. Did you get to venture around, go visit places, Texas? Are the rumors true that Texas do the best steaks, or they've been?
Yeah, for sure. If you like a Texas barbecue type meal, then it's everywhere you look.
Wow.
And it's enormous portion sizes. So I think that's something that you certainly notice when you come over from the UK. But unfortunately, I haven't actually managed to travel around as much as I would like, hopefully next year.
Oh, wow. So one of the things to do, guys, if you go to the US, count the calories and join the gym.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure you've been following the news, all the conversations, let's call it that, on Twitter about the H-1B visa, I believe, and the tech experts requirement to get into the US and work there. So there's been a conversation going on. We're not interested in that from politics side, but more of a market side of the conversation. Can you share with us your views? How does that work? If we have someone who's based in the UK, they're good in what they do, the Microsoft experts based in the EU, and they have an opportunity that come their way based in the US. Do you know how the process looks like?
Yeah, so in real simple terms, getting a H-1B visa is very heavily dependent on the state of the market. So if tech unemployment is high in the US, then the justification for hiring people from overseas isn't really there. So the market has been struggling for the past 2 years. And in general, I would have said over the past 2 years, it would be quite the struggle to get sponsored in the US. However, in terms of where we are today, in August 2024, tech unemployment was up at 6%. I think December, it was down to 2.3%. So there's been quite drastic improvements on that side of things. And there is the potential that 2025 onwards, it does depend on what happens politically. But from a market perspective, things are improving, and that will certainly increase the opportunities to move over to the States. The other things that impact it are, well, firstly, your seniority. So if you're a very senior engineer or architect, then it's much easier to get a justification for why they need to sponsor you, because they could, point to the very niche set of skills or experience that you have. what I would say is a real positive for anyone who has a British passport. A factor that really impacts how willing businesses are to sponsor people is actually sort of how quickly they can get their green card, right? So if you go over to the States and you get sponsored on the H-1B, and then you go to apply for your green card, if you're from, say, India or China, the wait list at the minute for green cards is like 10 years plus.
Wow.
So that means that companies would have to sponsor those people for that amount of time. Whereas if you're British, the wait time is more like 18 months, 2 years.
Big difference.
Yeah, so there is certainly a benefit of being from a country that doesn't have really high wait times for a green card.
Oh, that's really a good tip. You said sponsoring. So is it like an ongoing thing beyond the employment where it starts? Do they have to pay fees, or do they need to renew like every few quarters as an employer?
I believe, I'm not 100% on this, but I think you get it for 2 years initially. But you need to have your H-1B sponsored by an employer. That employer will take on a certain amount of cost from like a legal attorney perspective, and then also the sort of processing fee. I don't know the details of what those costs are, but yeah, and this also comes back to my first point of why it's difficult when the market's not great, because it is a certain amount of work and cost for employers to do. So if they can find the skills that they need onshore, then that will usually be the preference.